I was using Craigslist to sell some of my old stuff that I'd kept stored away in my house. I was getting ready to move out soon, so I figured it was time to sort through what I needed and what I could do without. That's when I stumbled upon my old motor tools. They were still in great condition, but I'd upgraded to battery-powered ones recently. Since I had no use for the old tools anymore, I decided to snap a few pictures and list them on Craigslist. I put up a power drill driver and a matching tool set for $80. Considering their quality and functionality, I thought it was a pretty good deal. Responses started coming in quickly. Within an hour of posting, I received 2 replies. One person emailed me suggesting $50 as a price, but I politely turned down the offer. The other response was more promising. They seemed very interested and agreed to buy the tools that same night for the listed price. I confirmed the arrangement, telling them I'd be available at 5 if they wanted to come by and pick up the items. I had a rule: never invite strangers into my house when selling items. Instead, I'd always meet them outside, usually in my driveway. My neighborhood was busy, with plenty of people around, so I felt safe conducting transactions there. As planned, I intended to wait outside with the items a little before 5, ready to make the sale quickly. But then, just after 4:30, there was a knock at the door. Peeking out, I spotted a man standing by his red car parked in my driveway. I cracked open the door and inquired about his identity. He promptly claimed he was there to purchase the tools listed on Craigslist and admitted to arriving early. Politely, I requested him to wait in his car for a moment since I wasn't prepared for his arrival yet. There was a brief pause, making the exchange a bit more uncomfortable than anticipated, but eventually he complied and turned away. After he left, I gathered all the tools and joined him at the top of the driveway. I had set up an outlet outside for him to test the tools, and he seemed content with their condition. Then, he proposed a significantly lower price. "How about 20?" he suggested, holding the drill in his hand. Politely, I reminded him that we had agreed on $80. While trying to maintain my composure, I explained that while I could negotiate a bit, $20 was far too low considering our initial agreement. Internally, I felt a tinge of annoyance, as it seemed like he was attempting to take advantage of the situation with such a low offer. He set the drill aside and, without acknowledging me, retreated to his car and drove off. Confusion and frustration flooded over me. It felt like a game, a waste of time. Reluctantly, I brought the tools back inside, trying to shake off the disappointment. It seemed like a minor inconvenience at the time, or so I tried to convince myself. Little did I know, the night was far from over. A few hours passed, and as I passed by the front windows, something caught my eye. The familiar sight of the red car parked down the road, just 3 houses away from mine. Squinting, I tried to discern if it was the same man, but the car was empty. Doubt crept in, but I reassured myself it was merely a coincidence, and continued with my evening. An hour passed by, and I carried on with my evening routine, preparing food and watching TV. Suddenly, a knock at the door startled me. Feeling uneasy, I decided to ignore it, hoping the visitor would leave. The man from earlier immediately came to mind. Barely 30 seconds later, another knock echoed through the house. "Hey, it's me," a voice called from outside. "I decided I'll take the tools. I brought the money." Despite the urgency in his voice, I remained skeptical. It dawned on me that the car I saw earlier likely belonged to him, indicating he had been lurking around my house all night. Without hesitation, I dialed the police, providing them with the man's name and the details of his car. The man continued to shout, insisting on purchasing the tools, but eventually his calls ceased. A tense silence enveloped the room for a moment. I remained rooted to the spot, my gaze fixed on the front door, unsure of what to expect next. With each passing minute, uncertainty gnawed at me. However, knowing that the police were on their way provided a semblance of security, allowing me to cautiously approach the window to assess the situation outside. Stealthily, I approached the window adjacent to the door. Suddenly, a loud thud reverberated through the house as something struck the side of the building with force. The noise was accompanied by the sound of rustling leaves and hurried footsteps retreating into the distance. Peering out the window, I caught sight of the man limping as he dashed towards his car. Just then, the police arrived, intercepting him halfway and preventing his escape. I was taken aback when the man confessed to his intentions. He admitted that he had planned to rob me, but my refusal to let him inside had thwarted his plans. Furthermore, he confessed to attempting to climb a tree beside my house and jump onto the roof. However, his attempt was unsuccessful, resulting in him hitting the side of the house and injuring his leg. However, what alarmed me even more was the realization that he had been armed with a knife. Moreover, upon inspection, I discovered that the roof he had attempted to jump onto was directly beneath my second-story window, and to my horror, it was unlocked. Had he succeeded in his leap, he would have gained access to my home. Despite his insistence that it was merely an attempted robbery, I couldn't shake off the gravity of the situation. After all, claims are just that, claims. I made the decision to cease using Craigslist altogether, shaken by the harrowing experience. Even now, I remain vigilant, ensuring that every window in my house is securely locked, even those I previously deemed inaccessible.